This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Moody in for Bill Bryant today.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. It is January 12th.
Now at 6:30, it's a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. We are live with a look at what you can expect for your morning commute.
A southern Kentucky woman found in the front yard of a home is now accused of murdering her mother.
And a notable Kentuckian has been invited to President Obama's final State of the Union address this evening.
We have some snow showers out in Nevada, especially in the northern zones. We're going to be tracking it as we go throughout the morning. The accumulation really begins during mid-morning. Looks like your early morning commute should be okay. And into the afternoon, that's when that snow really picks up as well. We'll talk more about this coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, we do have some new school closings coming into our newsroom this morning.
Yes, Scott County schools have just canceled classes for today. The same is true for Montgomery County and Harrison County schools. You can sit back there on the couch and hang out with us. WKYT's Mark Barber is live here in Lexington to show us what's being done to make sure your morning commute is safe. Morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sean. Up until about 5 o'clock this morning, road crews were focused mainly on the prep work, but that all changed about an hour and a half ago when the flakes started flying. That's when they started digging into the salt barn here behind me to go out and throw the salt down onto the roads. Now, the road conditions here this morning, they are still looking great. None of the snow that we've seen that's starting to fall, none of that is sticking on the roads at this point, but that, of course, could change as we go through the day. We are expecting to see 1 inch to 3 inches of accumulation. So the question for many school leaders this morning, do you call off school early? Well, that's a tough call to make, and it's a decision that many school leaders will be weighing as we wait to see just how much snow will fall during school hours. Road crews have now been working for 2 days to get ahead of this storm. They've been pre-treating a lot of trouble spots like hills, highways, overpasses, and bridges with brine. With more than 1,200 miles of road with 2 lanes or more, those road crews had a lot of ground to cover. Now they're going back over some of that same ground this morning, this time with that salt that they're taking out of this barn here. The barn is still full, but they have put a little bit of a dent in it this morning as they've got a lot of ground to cover again. But again, road conditions here still this morning, but we will continue to watch the weather. We will continue to watch road conditions and, of course, any closings or delays that might come from any schools as we go through the day. So, of course, as always, keep it right here on WKYT. We'll keep you updated on air and online. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. This winter weather is already to blame for a Lexington man's death. The coroner says Robert Johnson died of hypothermia. He was found dead behind Wildcat Warehouse on South Broadway yesterday morning. Volunteers now going around town to try and make sure other homeless people are safe. If you'd like to help out, find out where and how you can donate on WKYT.com.
Do not forget about your four-legged friends this winter when it comes to keeping them safe in the cold weather. The Lexington Humane Society says you should limit your pet's exposure. Workers say your dog or cat can get frostbite and hypothermia. If your pet sleeps outside, they say it's important that they have proper shelter. They say the bottom line, if it is too cold for you, it's also too cold for your pets. You can keep up with today's snow and traffic with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. You can download it for free in the app or Google Play stores.
A Lincoln County woman is in jail accused of killing her mother. Stanford police charged Michelle Stevens with murder. Police say Stevens was lying in a front yard of a home on Upland Drive, which prompted someone to call police. They took her to the hospital and later found her mother, 78-year-old Carolyn Tiller, dead in the basement. Police have not said how Tiller died. Family and friends are remembering a Lexington teenager who was murdered. Police say someone shot 18-year-old Caleb Hallett as he sat in a car along University Avenue early Saturday morning. His death marks the city's third murder of 2016 already. Last night, hundreds of people gathered to honor Hallett.
Never saw him mad. Never saw him sad. Always smiled.
And he felt like he was my brother. He done taught me confidence, how to be myself.
Police have not made any arrests in Hallett's murder.
Well, this morning, investigators are trying to figure out what caused a deadly crash in Whitley County. Happened on Highway 25, a few miles north of the Tennessee state line. The coroner says 59-year-old Sandy Petrie of Williamsburg died in the crash. The coroner says Petrie's truck ran off the road and landed in a wooden area. Well, Governor Matt Bevin says he's moving forward, I should say, with his plan to shut down Kentucky's health insurance exchange. And a letter to the federal government, Governor Bevin said Connect will cease operations, quote, as soon as is practicable. But according to federal law, that cannot happen until at least a year from now. Bevin's decision will not affect health plans sold for 2016. Once Connect shuts down, Kentuckians would have to use the federal insurance exchange. The governor campaigned on a promise to get rid of Connect. In a statement, Kentucky House Democrats said the governor is putting politics over people. Well, President Barack Obama addresses the nation tonight in his 7th and final State of the Union address.
And as Weijia Zhang reports, this year's address will be unlike any the president has delivered before.
The President of the United States.
In his 7th and final State of the Union address tonight, President Obama will talk to the American people about the nation's challenges and opportunities ahead.
What's critical are the kinds of decisions that we make now will have a significant impact on not just the next generation of Americans, but future generations of Americans.
I don't think I have ever been more optimistic about a year ahead than I am right now.
The president is expected to highlight executive actions he plans to take to tackle gun violence without congressional approval. But the White House says he'll also discuss issues where both parties can work together.
We've seen that there's strong bipartisan support for criminal justice reform on Capitol Hill.
This year, President Obama invited 23 guests to the House chamber to hear his speech, including a Syrian refugee and an American hero. 23-year-old Spencer Stone and his 2 friends helped take down a heavily armed gunman on a Paris-bound train last year. White House staffers called him last week during his commute to work.
They called me right when I pulled into my parking spot. They told me I'd been invited to sit in the First Lady's box, and, obviously I had a great day after that.
The White House is also using social media to spread the president's message by providing a behind-the-scenes look at tonight's event on Snapchat. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Washington.
A chair in First Lady Michelle Obama's box will be left empty to honor victims of gun violence. And we've learned a couple of Kentuckians have been invited to Washington for tonight's speech as well. WKYT's Mike Byer is at our live desk to explain. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Sean. We've recently learned that Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis, as well as former Kentucky coal miner Howard Abshire, will have a first-hand view of President Barack Obama's State of the Union address. According to The Hill, Davis and her attorney, Matt Staver, received an invite with the help of the Family Research Council, which opposes to same-sex marriage. If you recall, Davis was briefly jailed last year for refusing to hand out marriage licenses to gay couples. Meanwhile, BereaOnline.com reports that Abshire will also be at the address as a guest of U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Abshire, who lost his job at Fortress Resources, McCoy Elkhorn Division, after the mine shut down, is temporarily employed in eastern Kentucky working to remove mining equipment from closed mines. Now the two will join hundreds who will witness President Obama's final State of the Union address from the U.S. House of Representatives chamber. You can catch the full speech at 9 Eastern right here on WKYT. At the live desk, I'm Mike Byer. Back to you, Sean and Rebecca.
Thank you, sir. Kentucky U.S. Senator Rand Paul will not be on the main stage for Thursday night's Republican presidential debate.
And Fox Business Network says the main stage will feature the 7 candidates who have the highest poll averages. Senator Paul has been invited to the undercard debate, but he told CNN he won't be taking part there.
So we think it's a rotten thing to do, to try to designate which candidates have a chance and don't, and so we will not participate in anything that's not first tier.
Paul claims that recent polls show him in 5th or 6th place among Republican candidates.
A woman faces charges this morning after leading police on a chase through 2 counties. The Lincoln County Sheriff says it started with a shoplifting complaint in Stanford. Police soon spotted the suspect, April Wallace, but they say she wouldn't pull over. The chase continued into Garrett County, where the sheriff says the woman's car hit a Lincoln County deputy's cruiser. The sheriff says 2 deputies had minor injuries. They were treated and released from the hospital. Police say Wallace has been charged with fleeing and evading, wanton endangerment, and assault. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office is looking for 2 people accused of passing phony money. Deputies released these surveillance pictures of the suspects on Saturday. Police say a man and a woman used 3 fake $100 bills at a Walmart near Corbin. The next day, they say the suspects went back to the same store and used 4 more fake bills.
Lexington is giving CenterPoint's new developers another 30-day extension. That extension to fill in the site was issued on January 5th. According to the Lexington Herald Leader, the city is waiting for a real estate consultant's report that will help them decide if moving City Hall to CenterPoint would be a good use of taxpayers' money. The city says that report will be presented to them in the next several weeks. The developers can get a 3rd extension after the current one runs out in February. The Powerball jackpot has grown again.
probably no surprise there. It's huge. The jackpot now stands at $1.4 billion for Wednesday. No one has won the jackpot since early November. 4 people did in Kentucky. They won $50,000 each from Saturday's drawing. One of the tickets was sold at the Meyer gas station in Richmond. So dare to dream. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
50,000. Hey, you know, I could deal with that. Well, police in Oregon are looking for a thief who stole a python by shoving it down his pants. Smart.
I don't know what the normal way to steal a snake is. I'm not sure if this is it or not. The crime at the Portland pet store was caught on camera. After sticking the snake down his pants, you can see him waddle right out the door. The store owner says she's seen the man before, but this time she says he was with a blue-haired woman who seemed to be in on the theft. That's a strange one all the way around.
You know, it really is, and I'm going to save some of my comments and just not share them, but you can probably guess what I'm thinking.
We'll hope for the safe return
what
of the
we're
snake.
thinking. Yeah. Let's get a check of traffic right now to see what is happening.
Here's Officer Don now with live drive traffic.
Yeah, good morning. No wrecks right now, so we're keeping an eye on things with this weather coming in. For now, the circle looks pretty good, so does the interstate. We're monitoring traffic coming in from Scott County, also from Woodford County on Versailles Road. Let's get a look, and we'll show you what's happening. Everything pretty much in the green right now. Construction zones popping up, though, so you want to be careful through all of our construction zones this morning. From Nicholasville, about 12 minutes, Paris, about 18, Winchester, 22, and Richmond holding its own at 33 minutes across the Clays Ferry Bridge. Watch road conditions throughout the day, and we'll keep you up to date. Now back to you.
Don, thank you. More news from WKYT this morning is on the way.
So are you dreaming of winning that big Powerball jackpot?
Absolutely, and there are some high-tech ways that can help you cash in. We'll have the details after weather.
We already have some snow showers going on this morning. We're going to be seeing another batch roll through. This one will put down accumulating snow for most. I'll have that coming up in your forecast next. Under this first alert severe weather day, remember, first alert severe weather day does not mean tornadoes. It does not mean damaging winds. It just means there is some weather that's going to impact your day, and that's why we're here to keep you updated on an hourly basis, and we'll do that all throughout your day as well. Defender showing some snow already moving across the region. We're getting some flakes, some flurries down toward the southeast, building into the mountainous regions, and also some across 64 and northbound. If you're looking for an area that could cause some issues there early morning commute, I would say 64 and northbound. That's probably your best bet off towards 68, Maysville, and then work your way back toward Williamstown. I tell you what, we have heard of some issues just north of Williamstown heading into Cincinnati. That's where you're going to be running into some of those issues. But for the most part, our early morning commute should be okay. However, you get after that, expect those mid-morning issues to prevail, because here comes another shot at the snow. This is the bulk of snow, and we talked about yesterday that the start time does not mean that's when you'll start seeing all that accumulation. The start time is when you start to see some flakes, and that's what we're already seeing this morning and have seen the past couple of hours. But the accumulation for most actually comes during 8 to about 1 p.m. So 8 a.m. starting off in the west, 1 p.m. over there in the far east. So it's going to take some time to move on through, but we will start to see that mainly when kids are in school, which a lot of us are out of school. WKYT.com/closings. So KYT.com/closings, you can find all the latest school closings there, or check it out at the bottom top of your screen. There you go, heading in toward the afternoon. Those flakes will start to fade. Still looking at roughly 1 to 2 inches of snow for most, but it does look like some of us, I would say only a couple of isolated spots could reach that 3-inch reading. But if somebody gets left out on snow, if somebody does, it's going to be the far south and southwestern zones. I'll show you why. And when I'm talking about snow, I'm talking about accumulation, not so much as flakes. Everybody sees flakes, but accumulation, far south and southwest. Watch this, hour by hour. There's 8 a.m. to about 9 a.m. already in the western zones. You get 9, 10 a.m., that's pretty much when it slides into the central zone. So 9 to 10 a.m. into Lexington, and then it slides eastbound into 11, noon, and off into 1 p.m. That's where you're going to be seeing off into the east and southeast. But you look down toward the south, you see that green showing up, and really not the darker colors. That's where you're starting to see that, hey, this could be some light stuff down in the far south and southwest. That's why I'm not expecting much down there. Maybe a coating, and that's about it. But then you work your way into the rest of the afternoon, 3, 4 p.m. It's long gone there in Lexington, and it should work its way out by around 4 p.m. there during the afternoon hours in the far southeastern zones. So most of us sitting there anywhere from an inch, maybe 2, but then you go down to the south and southwest, down in the Cumberland region, it's around a coating to maybe an inch of snow. High impacts, not really that high. I would say it's right there at the low impact, but still we're going to be watching for that as we go through mid-morning, early afternoon. Road crews, if kids are going to school, I remember last year when we ran into this issue, guys, where the snow was coming while the kids were in school. If kids are going to school, which they'll bypass the snow, they'll be okay heading to school for the most part, but it's while they're in school that snow really does fall. Now that gives road crews time to knock this out. They've already prepared the roads. They're ready to go with all the snow clearing machines, you know, the trucks and whatnot, and then throw on the salt. They did that last year and they were able to take care of a lot of that. So if your kids are going to school, just keep in mind that the superintendent has spoken to a lot of people saying, okay, we got to get this ready because when this comes, we got to get it out of here before the kids get
It's all about the timing.
That's right, absolutely.
Thanks, Micah.
Thank you. If you have Powerball fever, there are a couple of apps you may want to download.
Yeah, the app Lotto will tell you if you've got a winning ticket, whether the prize is big or small. And if you're in an office pool, there's an app for that too. Lottery Pool Boss helps keep track of who's in which pool and who's paid what. The next Powerball drawing for a $1.4 billion jackpot is tomorrow night. I bet there are a lot of pools out there right now.
Billion with a B. You know, it's hard to believe that it's up that high, but it is.
6:50 on your Tuesday morning.
More news when we return.
Coming up, we're in Mexico with a look at the violent shootout that led to El Chapo's recapture and more details of his meeting with Sean Penn. Plus, never-before-seen footage from a 60 Minutes interview with David Bowie. More real news coming up on CBS This Morning, next.
Still to come, new guidelines on mammography screening for women.
What you need to know and if you could be at risk coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Well, this is a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day.
And meteorologist Micah Harris says we could see some accumulating snow today. We've seen a few flurries here in Lexington this morning, but so far nothing sticking. This is a live look at Man of War and Liberty Road. You can see the roads are clear. Traffic is moving along fine right now.
That is good. That could, though, change later today. Another round of snow expected to move into the bluegrass later this morning. Up to this point, road crews in town have been pre-treating the roads with brine. Dozens of districts have canceled classes, but there is school in Fayette County today. You can find a complete list of closings at the bottom of your screen and over at WKYT.com. Well, being outside in the bitterly cold temperatures can be dangerous for anyone. Lexington firefighters say that if you have to be outside, dress in layers and be sure to cover your head and hands. They also ask that you check on your elderly neighbors. The city has put in place its cold weather plan. If you know someone who needs help in town, you can call 211. And you can keep up with today's snow and traffic with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. Download it for free at the app or Google Play stores.
An update now on a breaking news alert we are tracking this morning. Officials in Turkey say a Syria-linked suicide bomber is believed to be behind today's deadly blast in Istanbul. Officials say at least 10 people were killed, 15 others injured in the blast. The explosion happened in the city's historic Sultanahmet district, which is popular with tourists there. 6:53 now on your Tuesday morning. President Obama will deliver his 7th and final State of the Union address tonight.
Yeah, the White House is expecting tonight's speech to be non-traditional. The president is expected to speak pretty bluntly about the nation's challenges and opportunities, they say, and push for reforms to the country's crowded prison system. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley will offer this year's Republican response.
As federal authorities push for Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's extradition to the U.S. this morning, we're getting an incredible look at the violent raid that led to the arrest of the drug kingpin.
The Mexican government released video of its Marines in a shootout with his security team last Friday. Don Champion has the latest.
Newly released Mexican government video shows Joaquin El Chapo Guzman did not go down without a fight. Dubbed Operation Black Swan, the violent raid last Friday ended Guzman's 6 months of freedom. For a wealthy drug kingpin, he truly lived like a man on the run. Monday, the media toured the now bullet hole-riddled hideout where he was found. From the filthy kitchen to the drab bedroom, Guzman was not living lavishly. 5 of his men were killed in the shootout, but Guzman managed to escape through intricate tunnels. A tip eventually led to his arrest in a stolen car. Guzman is now being held at the same prison he escaped from in July.
There's more than all the eyes of the world put on him.
Authorities say a secret Rolling Stone interview between the drug lord and actor Sean Penn led them to Guzman. The meeting was set up by Mexican actress Kate Del Castillo. Mexican intelligence photos show Penn and Castillo arriving at a Mexican airport in October and greeting the man who ferried them to Guzman. In emails to the Associated Press, Penn dismissed criticism over his interview. Don Champion, CBS News.
Former Afghan Taliban captive Sergeant Bo Bergdahl will go before a military court for a pretrial hearing today in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He faces charges of desertion and endangering fellow soldiers. Bergdahl was kidnapped by the Taliban and held captive for 5 years after he went missing from his post in Afghanistan back in 2009.
All right, let's get you an update on what's going on. We're still seeing those snow showers over in the eastern zones and northeastern zones. And some of these schools are closed. WKYT.com/closings is where you can find that. Another bulk will be rolling through anywhere from 8 a.m. to about 11 a.m. So about 2 more hours before it makes its way in the western zones. And then around here in Lexington, I'd say anywhere from 9 to 10 a.m. And then it slides eastbound through late morning into early afternoon. Wind gusts about 30 miles per hour. Pretty cold, too. Snow's long gone by this evening, but guys, all in all, we're going to be seeing about 1 inch to 2 inches of snow for the most part, about central zones, northern zones, and far eastern zones. Down to the far southern zones, sorry, guys. If anybody's left out, it's going to be them.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one.
Stay safe.